So here's a workplace paradox for you. The more leaders try to control how things get done, the less effective teams become. It's like trying to steer a bike for someone else while they're still pedaling. You think you're helping, but in reality, you're just making it harder for them to move forward. How do we avoid this trap? Especially as AI threatens to push control in the workplace to micromanagement levels never seen before. If we let that happen, will it lead to a complete collapse in teams' ability to get anything done? How can we stop that from happening? That's where the Agile's fifth principle comes in. Build products and services around motivated individuals, give them the environment and support they need, and trust them to get the job done. This is the heart of creating an empowered, self organized team. Sounds great, right? But what does that actually look like? Let's break it down. Think about the last time you did something you really cared about, whether it was a side project, a creative hobby, or even just organizing game night. You probably gave it your full attention. No one had to force you to do it, and you found ways to make it better. That's the kind of motivation that companies wish they could bottle up and hand out. The mistake they make? Treating people like resources to fill roles instead of recognizing them as individuals who bring unique energy into their work. Perfect example of this dynamic is in volunteer run organizations. You can't force people to care, and simply assigning tasks rarely leads to sustainable or great results. Instead, you need to create an environment where people are naturally motivated to contribute, where the work itself fulfills an inner need and provides personal satisfaction. This inspires them to give their best effort. The same applies to the workplace. When people get to work on what excites them, they bring creativity and commitment that no amount of management can force. Now, AI is automating more and more tasks. That means that human beings will bring to the table their creativity, problem solving, and innovation. And this is exactly what we were looking for, what we want. And here's the kicker: none of that can happen without trust. So, how do we create an environment that actually supports people? Let's talk about transparency. There's good transparency and bad transparency. Good transparency means openly sharing progress, obstacles, and ideas so everyone at all levels of the organization can contribute. Bad transparency is when, for example, AI monitors every keystroke and eye movement, turning the workday into a game of looking busy to appease the AI and avoid punishment instead of putting all our energies into delivering great value to customers, all while creating a depressing work condition. A sure way to kill innovation and creativity. Imagine this. A team faces a production issue costing the company millions in lost revenue every day. The problem is so serious that executive leadership calls an all-hand meeting. Assuming additional computing power is needed, they offer to overnight any hardware the team needs. However, because there's a trust relationship in place, the team confidently states that they know what the root cause of the issue is and how to fix it without the upgrades. The meeting ends, and leadership trusts the team to solve the problem. The team resolves the issue overnight. No extra spending, no unnecessary chaos. That trust, it's not just feel good leadership. It actually saves company from making bad decisions while walking the talk about trusting teams to own their work, including both the problems and the solutions. Teams don't just feel pride in their achievements, they take pride in how they work through tough situations. When teams experience this level of trust, it feels like the company's full power is strapped to their backs, propelling them to higher and higher levels. They know leadership has their backs, and that confidence leads to positive outcomes across the board in both the good and difficult moments. Now imagine if the same team worked in an AI monitored environment where every move was tracked, analyzed, and judged. Would they have spoken up? Or would they have quietly covered their tracks to avoid blame, letting the upgrades happen to avoid conflict? That's the danger of micromanagement, and especially AI driven micromanagement. It creates an atmosphere where trust is eroded and individuals become more focused on appeasing the system than solving problems. Fortunately, there's a way out, a better approach that we call trust and verify. Now, I'm not saying leadership should be 100% hands off. That's a recipe for chaos. Better approach is what we call trust and verify. It's perfectly fine and healthy for leadership to stay involved, ensuring a clear direction and keeping a pulse on progress. However, the key difference here is that this involvement doesn't equate to controlling every action or decision. Instead, leadership's role is to provide guidance, offer support when necessary, and intervene only when the real risks emerge. Think of it like aiming a rocket. You don't need to control every single degree of movement, but you need to make sure the general direction is right. Small corrections along the way ensure you're staying on track without wasting fuel or overcorrecting. In the same way, leadership provides the framework for teams to thrive while stepping back to allow them the freedom to solve problems on their own. If leadership can trust teams to own the work and make decisions while verifying that those decisions align with broader goals, we create a system of mutual respect and accountability. With this approach, teams feel empowered to take ownership of their tasks and solutions, while leadership maintains the necessary oversight to keep things on track without stifling creativity. So, for teams, what they need is a clear direction that defines what they are working towards. They need the freedom to figure out the best way to get there and the safety net where leadership steps in only when real risks arise. If we use AI as a way to detect the early warnings that trigger small core corrections instead of micromanaging performance, it becomes a tool for trust rather than a weapon for control. To make this work, we need to build a trust based workplace. As AI takes over more routine tasks, the ability to foster motivation and trust will be what separates great leaders from ineffective ones. So, what steps can you take to create a right environment for teams to flourish and deliver their best work? How might AI enhance rather than undermine creating that work environment? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to go deeper into psychological safety and AI enabled workplaces, check out one of these, and I'll be happy to tell you about it.